Have you ever spoken to a small child and wondered if they were retaining any information that you were telling them? It is exactly as important to understand that how we learn is just as important as what we are learning and the way that we are taught these things, which is why many different methods of teaching children has been implemented over years and years of time. Today we are going to be looking at the Montessori method, the Waldorf method, and a mixed and blended learning method. I am a teacher myself, so I do look at these things every single day, and I do wonder, what can I do better to influence my students and to teach them new things in the most effective way? The Waldorf method was created to essentially nurture a child and teach them small things that they know about life. And it may not be as effective as other methods because it generally focuses on not showing children any sort of thinking and critical thinking and things that may stress them out until they are about in first grade. And I believe this to be not effective because of that. Children genuinely need to learn when they're at that age, when they're at that point and they're curious enough. According to a look at Waldorf and Montessori, in a Waldorf preschool or kindergarten, we do not aim to achieve premature flowers of learning, as these flowers may find appreciation. We would rather forego such immediate satisfaction and focus our attention on the child's ultimate good and protection of his child. We are looking forward toward a healthy, well-rounded adult in the future. And this goes against psychologist Jean Piaget's philosophy on how we learn and how children grow to be how they are and how their minds mature. According to Very Well Mind on Jean Piaget's theory, 2 to 7 years old, major characteristics and developmental changes during this stage. Beginning to think symbolically and learn to use words and pictures to represent objects, tend to be egocentric and struggle to see things from the perspective of others, and getting better with language and thinking, but still tend to think in very concrete terms. So, while the Waldorf method is a great way to introduce young kids to a nurturing environment, I don't think it's as effective as some other methods. So now we are going to look at the Montessori method. A Montessori classroom looks like all wooden toys, lots of primary colors, and an environment that a child would definitely want to learn and have fun in. There is a lot of space for children to wonder and create things of their own and just make up stories and do dramatic play activities and all of these things that make it important to genuinely go in there and be a kid. The Montessori method allows children to also focus on creating their own independence while a teacher is not directly sitting with them and teaching them every single thing they need to know, because a lot of these things they will learn for themselves, and as they grow older, there are a lot of things that they have to learn only from experience. According to Child Care Education Institute, when using art activities in this way, it is important to keep in mind that the goal of art activities is not necessarily a perfect final product, but the process and learning that children experience as they work on the project. The value of process over product is extremely essential in any environment where children are learning, because I can tell them a million things throughout the day, but are they really going to listen to it until they apply it to their own work? According to the Montessori method, education children for a lifetime of learning and happiness, the school's proper role, she insisted, is to provide an environment in which the child is most able to do so, and the child's proper work is to create the man he will become to perfect himself. And the Montessori method may be a more effective way of teaching things, as you are not primarily focusing on nurturing, just like the Waldorf method is, and it allows the child to actually focus on what they're doing and learn these things for themselves and eventually grow further apart from the help of an adult or their teacher so that they can genuinely show themselves these things and qualities of life. Now, both of these methods are effective, but I believe that the blended learning method is extremely effective, and this was trademarketed by Primrose Schools. For example, I have a student with a baby doll, and she walks into class every single day, and she uses her baby doll, and she just brings it around with her, and we realized she's not communicating with her friends. She's not being happy and being around and playing. She just wants to stick around this baby doll. And that was how we nurtured her. We allowed her to stay with that, and we shouldn't have. Because the minute that we took that doll away from her, she was extremely happy, and she was talking to her friends, and she was engaging in the lessons, and she was being herself and who she was truly meant to be, and she was growing cognitively. And that was extremely important for us as teachers to notice, that we didn't just nurture her and we didn't just take things away from her because we don't like her, because that's not the truth. The truth is that we care so much about her that we needed to take the doll away from her. We want her to be herself. And I'm glad to say that her psychologist and her speech therapist were thrilled to add that we implemented this routine, and it was so good for her. If no routine incorporates different types of learning, such as hands-on, visual, or play-based learning, then you might not be able to teach your students in the most effective ways. If you only focus on nurturing the children, then that's all they're going to feel for the rest of their lives, and they're going to struggle when it comes to learning. According to Adela Taboada in a 2019 article on Patched, the balanced learning approach balances play with guidance and instruction from teachers, which maximizes each child's opportunity to learn, make choices, and become independent, no matter his or her learning style. In conclusion, it is very important to explore what your children want to learn, and it's going to be different for every group, which is why it's important to learn every single different type of method just to find out what works for you and what works for your classroom. The Waldorf method focuses on the emotional status of the child, while the Montessori method focuses on more educational and throwing a child into being more independent so that they genuinely learn. Integrating all of the information you know to create the best classroom possible is what's going to be the most effective, and it's going to show your students in the long run how much you genuinely care about them. And it's not only effective, but it benefits the children of our future. Thank you.